use this if you only want to hip fire, because that is ridiculous. Alright, so hello gamers, Phantom Forces just got a massive update, and you're going to want to watch till the end. And also, I have a few test plays videos that are very important, because I'm going to be going over these very, very fast. The changes in this update are just too much. There's 28 pages of patch notes, and I just wanted to go through it really fast, tell you guys the very important stuff, and I have full, more in-depth videos. If you guys want to go see those, I'll put all of them that are very important in the description. So first off, new guns. I'm probably going to do like a full video on all the new guns, but basically we have 5 new guns. The first gun is the USAS-12. The USAS-12 is a 450 RPM automatic shotgun. It does awful damage. It takes 6 out of 8 pellets to kill, and yes, it does have a lot of RPM, way more than something like the AA-12. However, the damage sucks, the spread sucks, and overall it's not going to be super crazy, but it's going to be kind of annoying to fight against. And yeah, this is really strange. I don't exactly know how this got added to the game. It's not going to be the best gun in the entire game or anything, but people are probably going to be complaining about it, not gonna lie, because every time there's a new auto shotgun, it's going to be kind of crazy. Not be like that great. As you can see, it just doesn't do a ton of damage. Takes most of its pellets to kill, but since it shoots so fast, it might be kind of a menace. Also very, very high rank, but as you can see, it literally falls off so hard. Also new eagle sound effect. Pretty cool. Our second 2 guns I will bundle together: a new carbine and a new machine pistol. The carbine is the OTS-126, and the machine pistol is known as the PP-2000. They do 37 and 36 damage respectively up close, to 20 or 17 at range. They also have regular multipliers, and they're both basically a 3-shot up close, 2-shot headshot. This one's a 5-shot at range, this one is a 6-shot at range. And the biggest upside of this one is that it has a massive magazine. I think this one has a lot more recoil. But basically, if you want a secondary version of the OTS, that's the PP-2000, and they're both very good. Lots of reserve ammo, high damage, not the best RPM for the damage, but they do have good pen, and they both have super armor piercing. So these are going to be pretty cool, like Uzi, UMP type guns, and this is maybe going to be one of the best machine pistols, if not the best machine pistol in the entire game. If you guys want to see ranking videos, let me know in the comments, because I might rank the new guns if you want to see all of them, like a full 8-minute video talking about every single gun. But right now, I'm just going to go through these very, very fast. Our last 2 guns are a machine pistol and a regular pistol. The machine pistol is the ASMI, and the pistol is the Alien. These are both very interesting guns. However, the Alien is kind of just like a gun that's already in the game, not gonna lie. But the ASMI is basically a primary as a secondary. It has a massive magazine, a 100 reserve ammo pool, and pretty low recoil even without a setup. However, it doesn't do great damage. It does like 27 to like 17, and it has some pretty trash drop. But if you want a bad primary, that's basically a primary as your secondary, this is a very good option. It's really good with a setup, not gonna lie, but like, it's such a good like primary secondary, and I might run this thing as my main gun or my secondary, because basically an automatic gun, if you run a sight, it can even have grips. It is the only secondary in the entire game that can have a grip, which is just ridiculous. You can put a stubby grip on this thing and kind of pop off. It's pretty crazy. Our next gun is the Alien. It does 34 to 16, which basically means it does very, very bad damage at range. However, it has a torso multiplier and a very high headshot multiplier at 2.8 times. So it can almost one-shot headshot up close, but it will be a 7 hit to the body at range. And also it has kind of strange recoil and not amazing body damage. It's like kind of meh body damage, not gonna lie. So yeah, if you're hitting headshots, this is really good. It's basically an M2011 type, like side grade type gun. Really strange. They already have like a pistol basically like this in the game, but this is a very easy one head, one limb pistol that kind of goes off, because I think that the M2011, which is that pink pistol from last update, can't actually reshot limb. It does like 32, but it has a torso multi, so this is theoretically kind of better. Although I think it has a smaller magazine, more recoil, less RPM. So the M2011 is kind of just a different version of this. I don't know, man. They're pretty similar. If you hit headshots, this thing kind of goes off, not gonna lie. But the body damage is kind of just dookie. Pretty interesting pistol. I kind of like it. It's not going to be my main pistol or anything, but it's not going to be too difficult to get 100 kills on it if I get 100 kills on all the new primaries and guns in general. If you guys want to see a video or streams where I'm trying to get to 100 kills on all these new guns, let me know in the comments. But yeah, so we actually have 2 new melees. The first one is the Trench Knife, and the second one is, of course, the Balisong. If you guys didn't see my video on the Balisong, which I already did one, it'll be in the description. It's pretty strange because they actually completely rebalanced this gun, but it does have animation animations now, but also the trench knife. It's a pretty generic melee. It does 64 to the front and 117 to the back. Regular walk speed and stuff. Kind of cool animations, I guess. It has regular and spec. Kind of a cool right-click attack, not gonna lie. And of course, the balisong is the good old butterfly knife. This is gonna be really, really popular, but it did get kind of rebalanced. So if you guys want to see that full video on this, it's like a 2-minute video. Next up, we have the new frag grenades. Well, the frag grenades are kind of interesting, and I already did a full video on all of them, including the ones that didn't get added to the game. So if you want to see what these do, the T13 impact is in there, and they didn't add a ton of the frag grenades. I guess they're still working on making them work better, I guess. However, they did change the M67 frag, which is the default frag from before. So if you want to see that, I have a full frag grenade video. They actually removed a ton of maps. They removed Blizzard Revamp, Laboratory, Neon District, Farmlands, Paradise, Rust Belt, Lakeside, Jungle Revamp. All of those are removed. They cannot be played unless you have a VIP server. So that's pretty sad. If you guys like those maps, which most people don't, that's why they got removed, is because they're very unpopular, and it's going to be kind of sad. However, there are new maps: Dust Bowl 2016 Ravid, which is literally just an old version of Ravid from 2016, and Penthouse. Dust Bowl, if you've seen it from other videos, is just this weird kind of desert town, and Penthouse is just a penthouse. It's pretty interesting. If you see those maps in the map pool, that's why they're there. They were just added. So next up, we have the new content and balancing changes. I'm going to be going over all this stuff pretty fast, and I will point out some videos that have been made by me already. For example, Colt LMG got a 20 tact conversion. Pretty cool. Basically changes a lot of the stats and makes it overall very good, but it gives it a 30 round magazine. I have a full video on that if you want to see it though. The DMR, the Beowulf TCR, I did make a video on this, can now have the squad barrel and the carbine barrel, which will make this gun insanely powerful, and it looks like they still haven't changed it. That's really good. So the HK417 can also have a long barrel now. So if you're an HK417 user, you can use the squad barrel, and you can also use the short barrel, which is the old short barrel, not the really good one with the better headshot multi. The HK51B also has not only a long and short barrel, and the short barrel does not increase the headshot multiplier, but the long barrel does give you better ranges. It also has a full stock now, so you can get even lower recoil if you want that. Basically make it a full version of the HK21. Yeah, look at that. So next up, we have the yellow laser. I have a full video on the yellow laser. All you need to know really is that it's a laser with a flashlight. If you want more on if it's really good, I recommend you go watch that video. Next up, you have the new barrel attachments, the T-brake and X-ring. I have a video talking about the T-brake and the X-ring, but basically the T-brake will reduce camera recoil both horizontally and vertically. So overall, it will reduce both horizontal and vertical recoil, but it's not quite as good as a muzzle brake or compensator. Compensator is better for your horizontal recoil. Muzzle brake is better for your vertical recoil. However, this is like a mix between the two, and if you don't want to use comp or muzzle brake and you want something that's overall pretty good, this is very good for them. Now, the X-ring is really strange. I don't know if this one's really that great. It makes your displacement recoil and rotational recoil better. This shouldn't be a big problem. T-brake is the good one of this update, but X-ring is pretty decent on some rotational recoil guns perhaps. But next up, we have new ammo types. New ammo types are pretty crazy in this update. First off, we have 7.62 on the AUG 2, which will increase your damage and give you torso multiplier and better ranges at the cost of recoil and muzzle velocity, and it gives you a 20 round magazine. So if you want a better, higher damage AUG 2, that's pretty cool. Next up, we have probably the most controversial ammo type of this entire update, which is Saiga 12 50 BMG. This will basically give your gun BFG type stats with 100 to 94 damage, a 3 times torso multiplier, 5 studs of pen, and 1 bullet. So basically, it's kind of like a weird BFG side grade. And you might be thinking, well, people get the BFG earlier now. That's sad. Now more people can get a BFG type gun. It's actually 2 ranks before, so it doesn't matter. And you have to buy the conversion, so at that point, you may as well just buy the BFG 2 ranks early. So it's not going to be a big deal. However, it's going to be kind of spooky to fight against, not going to lie. Now, the Saiga 12U also has 50 BMG, and you're probably like, what? That's just an SFG, but better. However, not only is it 14,000 credits, which I'm going to take one for the team and buy it, and I don't recommend you do. I'll show you in a second because the game ended. Now you have shotgun conversions for the KS-23M, a ton of new conversions. Harpoon, which I think was from last update. 4 gauge, which is just a really strange, slightly better RPM, but bad damage conversion. Don't use it. Shrapnel 25, which also don't use it. I don't know why you would use this. It just makes your damage bad. Walnut R, which is basically a strange, like, one-hit kill limb slug conversion. But then you have Barricada, which one-hit kills to the torso, but pretty far, and also has very high velocity. So Barricada is actually pretty good slug conversion if you want that. And Volna R is like a weird low velocity slug conversion that can one-shot anywhere in the body, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, Saiga 50U Only has one bullet, so don't ever use it. Just don't ever use it. It's a meme type, and it takes 14,000 credits, so do not pre-buy it. Here's the saddest part about this update. I do not agree with this at all. They completely reworked the SVU auto conversion, but it's an other attachment. Basically, it gives you a 20-round magazine, but pretty weird bad damage. No more one-shot headshot on the SVU auto. It's a 2-shot torso now, but it has a 20-round mag, and you can also use it with 9.6 Lancaster, and it gets a 10-round mag and a one-shot headshot, but not fun, not fun. Please bring back old SVU auto. The barrel changes are massive, and I want you guys to fully understand everything, so I'm going to just go over these pretty quick. If you want a full video on them, there's also just a full video link in the description. First off, we have long barrels on the assault rifle, known as the squad barrel. Squad barrel will give you better penetration, velocity, and overall range, both max and min, and it'll also change how your gun sounds. However, it will give you worse hipfire stability and worse walk speed. So this is really good. It is really good. It gives you a ton of velocity, more than before, and it gives you extra pen so you can shoot through more walls when you have this. So this is really good. But next up, you have the carbine barrel on assault rifles, and keep in mind the barrels on assault rifles are different from barrels on sniper rifles, which are different from barrels on DMRs. These are really crazy barrel changes. Now the carbine barrel will give you better headshot damage, but a worse min damage range, worse velocity, and worse pen, but better movement speed. So if you want to have maybe a 2-shot headshot on certain guns that wouldn't have a 2-shot headshot otherwise, and better walk speed, this is pretty good. However, it doesn't really have a big effect on recoil, and also you will have worse damage ranges at range, but it won't reduce min damage. So if you want better headshot damage with not a ton of downsides, this is really good. This definitely beats a lot of headshot damage increasing conversions on certain guns. Next up, you have the long barrel on both pistols and PDWs, and this one is massive. The changes on this one are ridiculous. Long barrel on pistols and PDWs will make your ranges a ton better. Your min damage range will go up from, in this case, 135 to 202 studs, and it will give you more pen and more velocity, better recoil, but very bad damage. In this case, you lose 5 damage, and this can be a lot worse. Basically, you have 1 worse hits to kill in every case, which is going to be a huge problem on specific ones, such as the good old Colt SMG, which is now a 4-hit kill with long barrel. But the AK-MSU is actually pretty decent with it, because it only goes from 43 to 37, so still a 2-shot headshot for some reason. I don't know why, but yeah, it does that. So overall, you're going to lose a lot of damage with long barrel, and I don't recommend it on a lot of guns anymore. It's pretty good overall, kind of. Now, short barrel is really strange. It's not good. You would expect short barrel to be just as good on assault rifles as it is on PDWs, and it's not as good on these PDWs as it is on the assault rifles, because if I can find a gun with a short barrel, I don't know any guns with a short barrel. Basically, what it does is it gives you worse overall ranges, worse pen, and worse velocity by a lot. However, just better walk speed. Don't use it. It doesn't give you better headshot damage in this case. I don't recommend it at all. And we have the marksman long barrel, which is on some of the DMRs, not the TCR. The TCR has carbine and squad barrel, which are the ones on the assault rifle. So the TCR short barrel actually increases headshot multi. The only one that has marksman barrel really is the SL8, and the SL8 with marksman barrel is busted, let me tell you. The marksman barrel will reduce your RPM by like 30%, which is a lot. However, it gives you crazy headshot multi, crazy torso multi, and crazy ranges, and over 3,200 velocity, which is basically me saying that this gun now has more velocity than the intervention. The SL8 is going to be so meta now. It has a 30-round mag and pretty slow RPM for that. So basically, you can shoot for ages, but it actually does damage with this. It has a 1.29 torso multi and a 1.75 headshot multi. So basically, it does ridiculous damage. Use the SL8 with marksman barrel. Now, the short barrel is actually on the Mark 11, and let me tell you, the short barrel is not good. It's called the assault barrel, and it reduces your ranges by quite a bit, your velocity by quite a bit, your pen by quite a bit, and your multis by basically all. So now you lose headshot multi, torso multi with this, but you can shoot the Mark 11 a lot faster. It just doesn't do great damage or have great velocity. The only reason I can see this being good is because you can 3-tap really fast. No more 2-shot torso. I don't even think you can 2-shot head all ranges. Maybe you can. I guess you can, but still. Makes the Mark 11 just a weird no multis gun. If you want it, it might not be terrible, but I don't really recommend it. Last up, you have the most interesting ones of this update, which is heavy barrel and light barrel on the sniper rifles. Now, light barrel will actually increase your max damage range, but reduce your min and reduce pen and velocity and give you better handling, but this can actually now give you a better torso kill range on any sniper it's on, except maybe the TRG, but it will give you a better limb kill range on the TRG. So basically, if you want to be able to one-tap a little bit more to the body in close range, the light barrel is for you. Keep in mind, it won't work on stuff like the Steyr Scout, but like, this is going to be so cracked, not going to lie. Dude, this gun sounds cracked now. But yeah, better torso kill range, but really bad ranged performance. And you might be wondering, why not use the long barrel? Because that increases your torso kill range. Actually, not really anymore. Also, it does change your firing pitch, as you can tell, and Remington can now bolt without having to aim out, which is pretty cool. So basically, the heavy barrel will reduce your max damage range, but increase your min and velocity and pen by a lot. So this is actually really good for long range sniping. It gives you a ton of pen. So I would recommend, if you want overall stats, don't use any barrel. If you want a better torso kill range to sacrifice your long range performance, use light barrel. And if you want all long range performance, use heavy barrel, because you get great bullet drop with this. And it will also reduce your sway speed, which is really nice for using a scope. So basically, heavy barrel is very, very good for long range only, pretty much. It's okay for closer ranges, I guess. And yeah, this is a very good change to snipers. It will nerf a few of the snipers that rely on long barrel. However, it will buff a lot of them that don't actually need to use a long barrel and have a short barrel that nobody cares about, because now people might actually care about the short barrel. Next up, we have the cowboy barrel, previously known as the long barrel on the revolvers. And keep in mind, the 1858 still has the long barrel with normal stats. However, the cowboy barrel is really good. It gives you better ranges, better velocity at the cost of worse recovery speed and worse aiming speed. However, it now reduces your muzzle flip by 50%, which I can't show you because the game ended again. I don't know how the game is ending so fast. Basically, what that means is your gun kicks less with a revolver, which is pretty ridiculous. It makes long barrel even better for spamming. But Snubnose also got a bit of a buff. Keep in mind, it's not going to be great, but it does have some pretty cool upsides. Basically, what it does is it reduces hipfire spread by 70% and increases hipfire stability by 50%. However, it increases your model kick speed and muzzle flip by 35%. So basically, if you want to hipfire, this gun is going to be cracked, but have worse ranges, worse velocity, and not be great at all at range. However, it will aim fast, which doesn't matter because you're not going to be aiming, because the hip fire is so good. Also, 1858 long barrel now doubles pen, but it doesn't really matter. One stud instead of 0.5. Anyway, that is your hip fire on the MP412 Rex. Use this if you only want to hip fire, because that is ridiculous. Now, there's a lot of stuff with the new suppressors. I'm not going to mention these in this video because the video would take like 30 minutes. I want to keep this video kind of shorter. I have a full video on suppressors. You should probably watch that. I already talked about all of them, and they haven't changed them since I made that video. So go in the description. I have a suppressor video. Go watch that. Yes, they nerfed a muffler and they buffed a ton of suppressors, and suppressors are really good now. Oil filter did get one change since then, but oil filter now reduces suppression by 80%. So you have 0.1 on the scar now. That's funny. Now, they also did change the grips by a ton. I recommend you watch that video as well. Vertical grip is now very good, but since then they did a couple of changes. They slightly bumped the pistol grip. It now reduces recoil by a little bit more. But yeah, if you want to see all of the stats of the grips, I 100% recommend you go watch that video, because the new stats of grips are kind of ridiculous, not gonna lie. They did do, I think, one other new change, which is Romanian grip now makes your kick speed faster, basically makes your recovery speed better. But yeah, it makes your hip fire really good. I talked about that in my grip video if you guys want to go see that. Also, Hero grip is now very good. I recommend you go check that video out. They also made the K14 capable of equipping the Hera. Why? Wait a minute. I'm about to troll this gun so hard. Oh wait, this is actually the main game. I'm losing so many credits. Let's see this aiming speed, dude. Yeah, the best aiming speed the K14 has ever had. They did do one massive change to the burst weapons of the game. Before, if you had a full auto gun with a burst, it would reduce the recoil on burst. So basically, you could use the AUG 3, and if you bursted it, it would have way less recoil than automatic. Now, it doesn't do that. They also made some of the bursts have more recoil, such as the M16A4. Now has a bit more recoil. And also, they did one other change to the AK-12 series of guns, which is basically that overall, if you use the burst, you can hyperburst them, but they get pretty uncontrollable recoil. Not completely uncontrollable, but a lot of recoil. It increases recoil, but you know, you can hyperburst them once again. Other than that, some guns have ratcheting trigger groups, which doesn't really matter. I'll just explain how that works. If you use a burst, you can have it burst 3 times, 1 time, you can 2 times. You can make it burst however many times you want. However, the G36s now have a locked burst group, which means they will now only shoot 2 shots. They have a 2-shot burst for some reason. MP5 has a burst trigger group buff. It now actually has better burst delay. Still doesn't seem that great. Now we have some balance changes, and this is half of the update. I'm going to go through these very, very fast, because last time we were here for like 2 hours, and it ended up being like an hour-long video with like a 2.5-hour recording time, and I don't want that. So we're going to go through these very, very fast. So first off, we have assault rifles. The HK416 now does less min damage, which is a huge nerf to hollow point and to 300 conversion. These are both kind of trash now. Not really though. Hollow point is still really broken, and 300 is still fine, but it no longer has a torso multi, so it's not as great. But yeah, the default HK416 point is still going to be great. Hollow point is just not going to be a 5-shot all ranges anymore. Huge nerf to the G36. It now does 24 min, which means it's no longer a 4-shot all ranges. A lot of people are going to be like, well, that sucks, but it does have a 180 min range, which means it's going to 4-shot to basically every conceivable range anyway. So I'm just going to tell you guys right now, G36, I've been using it in the test place and it's still good. Same thing happened to the L85. It did get slightly better ranges, a better max and min damage range. However, it does 24 damage at range. This is still going to be really, really good as well, just not quite as good as the G36 is. I think the G36 is actually going to outperform the L85 now, and I don't know what the best assault rifle is anymore because the L85 was kind of the best one before. The AK-103 and AKM now actually have less pen. Doesn't really matter though because they still have 1.4 studs. But the AK-47 got a massive nerf. It now has a default headshot multi, so basically no more crazy headshot damage, and now has reduced pen and increased recoil. The AK-47 is gonna be good still, but not as great, not gonna lie. And finally, a nerf to the C7, a pretty deserved one. It now no longer has a good old long barrel. But I'm gonna use T-brake on this, and now it's gonna have still no recoil. Yay! Still gonna be really busted, not gonna lie. Pretty sad thing for a lot of sweats. The M16A3 is finally getting a nerf. It's going to have a lot more aim kick max. It's gonna have 0.5 instead of 0.3, so basically lots more vertical recoil. They actually removed the funny thing on the Type 88. We're gonna actually walk faster while aiming. Please add that back. That was so funny. Why did you remove that? That was funny. You guys got me messed up, man. That was such a funny feature. The AK-12 got a slight rebalance, actually. It now has a better min damage range, but a slightly slower walk speed of 0.5 slower, so not a big problem. And the K2 got a massive rebalance. Now shoots faster and does less damage, but has a torso multiplier and a better min damage range. So it's actually like almost buffed, but kind of rebalanced. A little bit faster RPM, no more 3-hit kill limb, but it's still a 3-hit kill torso, and it does worse damage range. I don't know, overall it's about the same, but it's going to feel a little bit different. This is because of the G36 nerf. If the G36 got nerfed, the K2 didn't get a change. The K2 would have been just objectively better. Now they're kind of more balanced. Also, M231 finally got a nerf. It now does 32 to 20 instead of 35 to 25. So instead of being a 3 to a 4 shot, it's now a 4 to a 5 shot. So overall worse hits to kill, but the recoil has not been changed. So it's still going to be pretty accurate for close range. Like, it's the M231. It's not as inaccurate as people say. It's still going to be not quite as great, but it's the M231. You can run hollow point on this and get a 3-shot back, but it will have really bad damage range, so maybe don't use that. The AUG A2 actually got better recoil, so the AUG A2 is going to be really good with 7.62 and better recoil. The Type 20 actually got some pretty big buffs. It wasn't that great before, let's be real. It actually gets good reserve ammo with the extended magazine. Instead of 80, it has 120, and it has better recoil. So if you want Type 20, it's pretty good right now. And the X95R is probably maybe the scariest gun of this update. I'm going to be using this thing now. Now it has better recoil, and with 300 blackout, it's actually pretty it's not super accurate, but man, it's pretty good. And also it has a faster reload time. I'm not gonna lie, X95R 300, really good. The AK-12C got completely rebalanced. It's kind of strange. Nobody really cares because it's the AK-12C and not a lot of people use it, but basically it now does 36 to 21 instead of 35 to 21. It now actually has a hyper burst, but it has reduced penetration and a slower reload time. So it doesn't have the crazy reload time. However, if you use 9x39 on it, it actually gets the good reload time back, which is actually really sick. I like that. Am I in like a capture the flag only server, or like I'm only getting capture the flag here? But basically, if you want the faster reload time, you can use 9x39. You get really fast reload. Actually, that's good recoil. What? The G36K got another nerf. Shouldn't be a big problem. It now has a slightly worse 3-hit kill up close range. The FAL 56-3 Para now has worse min damage range, and most importantly, a lot more recoil. If you're a big fan of this gun, not a problem with like full stock and everything. Like, you can still make it pretty accurate, not gonna lie. The DBV-12 has a worse range 0, aka a worse max damage range. Same with Saiga 12, not a big problem for those two though. DT11 has a worse min damage range, which is also not a big problem, I don't care. But two very interesting changes have occurred. First off, the KSG got a buff. It has faster RPM and also better spread. So maybe the KSG will be a balanced shotgun, maybe, I hope. Like, it's really not that great, but it's one of my favorites. And the Remington 870 got a buff for some reason, even though it's one of the best shotguns in the game. Now does 34 max damage. It's now a 3 pellet kill, which apparently I just can't hit anything but Like, it's good. One of the most controversial changes of this entire update, the AG3 nerf. AG3 now has a crazy 1.7 headshot multi instead of 1.4, and it has a better min damage range and better walk speed. However, worse max damage range and worse overall damage and worse aim walk speed multi, which means you walk really slow when you're aiming and you have worse damage, but not worse recoil, because the AG3 is so accurate, so it doesn't really matter too much. But it's not going to be basically a full auto DMR anymore. It's going to be a 4-hit at range instead of a 3-shot all ranges, which it should have never been that way anyway. And the FAL 50 finally got a well-deserved nerf. Basically, it has worse recoil, worse min damage range, which is not a big problem, worse up close damage, and worse damage at range. I mean, the 3-hit torso all ranges was kind of broken, but is the FAL 56-3 para going to be better? Because this thing is very inaccurate now. I don't know. Just alt aim it. It shouldn't be too bad. And for close range, it's not going to be a full auto DMR anymore, but it's still going to be a good gun. Another big change is the Scar H nerf. The Scar H nerf is maybe the biggest battle rifle nerf here. They removed the long barrel from it, but it does have a carbine barrel for better headshot multi if you want it. However, the big thing here is the weird recoil. It has actually with comp, it's still super accurate. I don't know. Just use compensator. Finally, the G3 now walks slower while aiming. Not a big problem. Not gonna lie. The G3 is still possibly better than the AG3 now that it has better reload time, better damage. I mean, it doesn't have anywhere near as good recoil, but it's still gonna be maybe overall better. Next up, G36C and the Krinkov, aka AKS-74U, now actually pick up ammo from assault rifles. AG3 para got a buff, even though it's super cracked. Why would you ever buff this gun? It's so cracked. It now has a better 3-hit kill range by 20 studs, which is pretty big. 60 stud 3-hit kill range. Better recoil, I think? Why? Dude, why? AG3 para is so good. Please just revert this, because the AG3 para does not need this, and I don't want to see the AG3 para get nerfed. It was in a good spot before, and I don't want to see it get buffed, and then people realize how broken it is, and then nerf it. Because I really like this gun. It's one of my favorite PWs. The AKS-74U now walks faster. Who cares? Big nerf to the MP7. It now has worse min damage, and it also has really strange recoil. Don't use this gun anymore. The MP7 is major bad now. It also has worse pen, but like I said, don't use it. The FAL Para Shorty got a pretty big nerf. It now has worse recoil, worse pen by a lot, worse damage to the torso, but it has 140 reserve instead of 120. It has strange recoil. I don't know. It's still going to be good. It's just going to not be quite as much of a laser beam, but let's be real, like the FAL Para Shorty is really good, so it should be good. And if you like the extra reserve ammo, it's not even going to be that bad. It might even be kind of a buff, but you know, still more recoil. Lastly, the MP10 finally got a nerf after like years. Now you can no longer use hollow point and long barrel combo because of the change to the long barrel, and it finally has worse ranges, but it's still going to be very good. The L2A3 actually got a slight buff. It now actually has more reserve ammo, 136 instead of 128, because I think 136 actually makes more sense because it's the actual amount of magazines it would have. The RPK-12 can now hyper burst again, and yeah, it has weird bad recoil by a lot. Also, the RPK-12 reloads slower, and the RPK actually didn't get its pen changed or its recoil changed for some reason, but it doesn't have the better headshot damage. But oh my gosh, RPK meta still, dude. I thought it got its recoil changed. It's still gonna have meta recoil. What? The HK21 is now called the HK21E and has some huge changes. And now it does less damage. It has a slight torso multi, but it has worse recoil, worse pen, worse velocity, and worse ranges by a ton. And hopefully it should be a little bit more balanced. I'm gonna be real. It's still gonna be really good. It's going to easily be able to 4-shot all ranges anyway, and it's the HK21. The Scar Hammer, the Colt LMG, the L86, and the AUG H-Bar now have slightly lower pen, and the L86 actually got kind of a big nerf. So the default L86 can no longer 4-shot torso ranges, and the L86 with 223 can no longer 3-shot torso up close. That is actually a pretty big nerf. I'm not gonna lie. Maybe the L86, I mean, it's still gonna be super accurate, but this might make this gun a little bit more balanced, I hope. Maybe it's time to take off 223 again and use it without 223. I'm not sure. It's still gonna be a really good gun, though. The AWS actually got a slight buff. It actually has 2500 velocity, which makes it on par with the other snipers in the game, and with a high RPM, the AWS is very good now. The NTW can actually attach the straight pull bolt, which means it's going to have 25 RPM, but you know, you can actually fire it multiple times while aiming. That's pretty cool. The intervention, it no longer has an extended mag, but it just gets a free extended mag again. Like, the intervention was so good. The intervention does not need a change, dude. Giving the intervention 7 bullets back is basically giving the intervention one of the best parts about it back, and now the intervention is going to be super good, even though it was really good before. Now, the M107 is very strange. It's been completely tweaked. Basically, what this gun does is it actually has 200 RPM now, but can no longer torso kill up to about 100 studs. So basically, you can no longer one-shot to the body up close, but at range you can, and at all ranges you can, kind of like the gyrojet, and it shoots really fast. But if you're using a low magnification sight, it barely aims in. So you actually got to use a scope with it and use it at range. But at range, this thing is very scary. Also, do not use 416 Barrett. It's actually really bad. Also, by the way, it has 0.17, which means that you can cross-map headshot with 200 RPM at 6,000 velocity. Use that information how you will, but yeah. I mean, it doesn't have good recoil, but keep in mind, at range, this is going to be a one-tap torso, all ranges. This is scary. It's literally just like a gyrojet, but bad recoil, but like actually good velocity. The Grizzly now uses the heavy long barrel. G1M1 now uses heavy barrel. Don't use that at all. So does the Glock 50. All these guns just use the heavy long barrel now. That's kind of cool, actually, because they don't use the freaking garbage pistol one. The KG99 now starts with a short barrel, and it has a better walk speed, which is kind of cool, and it doesn't have any downsides for having a short barrel. The Glock 21 actually got a buff. It can 4-shot torso at range, has better velocity, and has better ranges. So the Glock 21 is really good again. The Glock 23 now has worse torso damage, so slight nerf to this, but it's still really good. And the AF 2011 now does worse damage, however has better headshot damage. The reason for this is because AF 2011 with hollow point used to be able to one-hit kill limb. It was very busted. The 93R is the only machine pistol changed. It actually has a better burst delay, so maybe you can burst it a little bit faster, but keep in mind, I don't think you're going to be able to get anywhere near the burst from before. Changes to the overall revolvers. The Judge now does 50 damage, so a 2-pellet kill, but only up close, and it now loads shells individually. Same with the Executioner. Basically, what you can expect from this is a very, very slow reload time, so just keep that in mind, I guess. The sawed-off has finally gotten a change, which makes it feel like a good sawed-off. Now does 36 times 8 to 9 times 8, so bad damage at range. However, it has a very fast reload time and actually does super great close range damage. It does actually like 3rd highest shotgun damage compared to like the regular shotguns in the game. And with a faster reload, this might be okay. It's going to suck at range, but it might be really fun for close range. Might actually feel like a good sawed-off, but you know, keep in mind at basically any range past 2 studs away, it's gonna suck. Finally, attachment and conversion changes. This is like 10 sheets right here. The HK337 no longer has a torso multi, so take off 300 conversion. It's still okay, but I don't recommend it. The HK237C conversion, which is the conversion on the G36C, now has worse range and worse damage up close. It's still okay, but not quite as good. The HK237 now has worse damage at range, which is the conversion on the G36. Scarhammer 9mm got a huge nerf. It no longer makes a reload time like 1 second. It actually has a slow reload time, which is good because for 100 bullets, it reloaded way too fast. AK-12C 9x39 now has a faster reload time, which will make the AK-12C have the reload time of the old version of it. And now it increases your damage to 38 and 23 at range with torso multi, so 4-shot torso ranges, really good. The Steyr Scout actually with 5.56 has a faster fire rate, so the Forged got a buff, and it actually makes your reload time faster by a lot. So basically, Forged is OP now, even though it was really OP before because it's the Forged. It's the best gun in the game, baby. The C-Tar barrel on the TAR-21 actually got a huge rebalance. It actually makes your damage 34 to 19, so if you want a very strange 2-shot headshot gun, it's actually pretty good. The BFG Carbine now has a worse torso kill range, basically. Wait, no, it's still a torso kill low ranges. So use BFG. I don't know. BFG Carbine is strange, man. Super Armor Piercing actually got kind of a nerf. It now only doubles your pen. So now Super Armor Piercing only has 2 studs instead of 3 on the AN94. Now it reduces your min by 25% instead of 5, which is kind of ridiculous. Huge nerf to Super Armor Piercing. It kind of needed it though. The Halbig device actually got new recoil, which should make it not quite as broken on certain guns, but overall the Halbig is even worse. Don't use Halbig. But Loudner actually lowers recoil now, but lowers your muzzle velocity. So if you want cool gun, but I don't know. Wow, that's so loud. The flash hider is actually kind of cracked now. It actually reduces your overall cam recoil by 5%, and it now increases your fire volume by 50%? That's so strange. The 25-45 and 20 tact conversions on some of these M16s now has a slower reload time. The DBV 30-06 got a buff. So if you're a big fan of that conversion on the DBV 12, you now actually get more velocity. Pretty cool. The M107 extended mag now is even slower and only has 20 reserve instead of like 30, I think. So basically like no reserve bullets. The NTW Obras barrel actually got a faster walk speed, and I think you can actually aim down sights while standing up. So pretty cool for that. And the Hikate 2 CQB barrel now has a faster walk speed, which doesn't matter. The Intervention CQB actually has a faster walk speed and aim speed. They finally buffed Henry 410, one of the worst conversions in the game. Now does 50 damage and has 6 pellets, so this might be kind of cracked, not gonna lie. However, it no longer has a torso multi, which is not a big problem. Tommy gun 10mm is now a recoil reduction attachment instead of a recoil increase attachment, so if you want basically better damage at range and better velocity but worse close range damage, this actually might be really good for spraying. It doesn't do great damage, but man, it's accurate. Birdshot can rebalance as well, and it's probably not going to be that great anymore. I'll use it on the DBV. Birdshot now reduces your spread, but reduces max damage range by 20%, and now reduces damage by 25% and your damage at range by 50%. So now you do 5 damage at range with the DBV and like 2 damage up close. I don't know. Does have good spread though. This might be okay on certain guns. I don't really recommend it personally. I mean, yeah, it falls off, man, bad. The short barrel on the DT11 got nerfed. Now it increases your spread by a ton, 25% instead of 15. The combat barrel increases spread by more as well, so the DT11 overall got a nerf. And the AKM SU now has 120 reserve, but has the lower pen. So if you want to use 7.62 on the AKS 74U, it's a little bit better. The AUG 3 300 actually got a buff, which is pretty cool because AUG 3 300 is not bad. Basically, it now has better recoil. It's still a bit of recoil, but like it gives you a 2-shot head. It's pretty good. The AK-103 5.56 now has lowered pen. Nobody cares. And the Henry Big Boy conversion now actually reduces recoil by more. The Henry with the Dookie conversion of 3.57 Magnum is a little bit better, I guess. The Scar L conversion, known as 7.62, actually has a faster reload time. So if you want to use this, I guess it's... Reload's cool. I like the reload, not gonna lie. The AUG 40 on AUG 3 Para got a slight buff. It has a better max damage range. And the Saiga 308 now does worse damage in close range and at long range. Nobody uses Saiga 308, but that's because they nerfed the AG3 and it's kind of similar to the AG3. The AK-12 Bars barrel now should make your recoil like non-existent, but it's still going to be kind of trash, not gonna lie. The PPK-12 actually no longer increases your walk speed, and now it no longer reduces your min damage range. The biggest thing about this is that it actually has the hyperburst back, so watch out for the PPK-12 users. They're going to come back. The Saiga 9 and Saiga 9U, which is that Saiga 12 conversion, that's 9mm, that's a burst. Nobody uses it, but it has better recoil now. And now the lasers have been changed a little bit. Let me know in the comments if you want a full video on this, but basically, red laser now reduces your hip camera kick speed by 5% and reduces hip fire spread by 5% and makes your hip fire spread recovery better by 5%, but no longer improves model kick speed. Blue laser now increases aim kick speed. Listen, you guys are not going to understand this, so maybe I'll make a full video on this if you guys want. And also, the AK shotgun conversions have been buffed for some reason. I don't know why. If you guys want to see a full video on that, I have it. It's in the description. Basically, they got buckshot on slugs and they do a little bit more damage now. Mark 11 500 Phantom no longer hard sets your velocity, which means if you use it with a short barrel, it will make your velocity even worse, which before it wouldn't do that. The Uzi 22 long rifle conversion actually got a nerf. It no longer increases your headshot multi by as much. The M14 Creedmoor conversion now has a worse min damage range. I don't know who cares about that, but it's there. The AA-12 semi-auto conversion no longer improves your recovery speed, but nobody uses semi-auto AA-12, at least not in my experience. The MAC-10 carbine barrel is kind of dookie now. I'm not gonna lie. It now makes your max damage 32 instead of 36. Don't use it, I guess. I don't know. Now we're on to finally the last few balance changes. 45 ACP now does better damage at range. However, it doesn't have a torso multi, so you have a worse 2-hit kill range, and it makes your gun the ZX7, which is pretty cool. That's a cool name. The Mars actually got a bit of a buff nerf. It now has a worse zoom in. It only zooms in 1.5 instead of 2 times, so if you want to use the Mars, it's cool. I don't know. It now only uses the stats of the red laser. It now no longer reduces recoil, which is fine because red laser does have some recoil benefit stats, so it's going to be still really good to use the Mars. And finally, the M107 CQB barrel. M107 CQB barrel is kind of busted because it gives you a CQC torso kill, but you have like so much RPM. So now you can actually torso kill to about 85 studs. Maybe less now, maybe they changed that, but you know, since you aim so slow and stuff, it's not going to be that great, not going to lie. They also have a bunch of random balancing changes that are not really that important. A couple of the very important ones is the sniper rifles actually don't aim in as much. I have a full video on that as well. A lot of people might have seen that because I was complaining about it. Basically, the Mosin iron sights are kind of ruined, not going to lie. The Deagles actually got new fire sounds. They actually have even different fire sounds, and they're kind of good, not going to lie. I really like them. But yeah, other than that, that's the majority of everything. Lots of videos are going to be in the description or in a pinned comment, and yeah, check out whatever you want. If you want grip guides or anything like that, I have full videos on all that stuff. I wanted to make this video a little bit shorter because last time it was super long, like an hour long. And finally, a major thing is XP farming has been nerfed. As you guys know from before, XP farming was kind of a problem. People were kind of abusing the system where you could go into a small server and people would like, you know, farm a point back and forth, and that was kind of broken because you could get a lot of points and it was kind of cheating. So they fixed that. Now if you're in a very small server, you won't get as much XP, which means hopefully that'll fix the XP farming. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments though. That is the majority of everything. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to like and sub, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.